the light that's shining on the surface of the eyeball should be crisp and not a smudge. But this light down the bottom should just be a vague smudge. We're going to take a little break. You've got 5 minutes to come up and just mosey around if you want, or go back and look at the art back there. We have 6 rooms of art, hundreds of paintings by the Sebastian River Art Club, and we have our work changes monthly or every other month, and we have special exhibits in the 2 front galleries. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you in the next 5 minutes. Thanks, Guido. If you want to get up and move around. Where's my 6B? HB, 6B. Okay. Those are my drawers. Whoops.
And then one here is different. Putting it on the...
Okay. All right, you ready?
What number pencil did you say you were using on the eyes, Judy?
They're just a little, okay, like that. Down a little bit. Okay, stop. Let's see. I think that's about right. Okay, moving on. Now I'm going to do the other eye. This way, both eyes are going to be looking at me, and it'll be exciting. Okay, I'm going to do this eye also. My eyes are starting to... My eyes are different all day long. I have to change glasses all the time. Don't ask me why.
Are they the same prescription?
They're not prescriptions. I have those at home. They don't work. They make me dizzy. So I have over-the-counters that I take on and off and hope for the best. Okay. First of all, I'm going to put the dot. You want the dot in the exact same place in both eyes. I can't use those. They're too far. Okay. Yep. If it's 1 o'clock in one eye, it's 1 o'clock in the other. I'm going to be a little smarter. Hmm? Go that way, just to here. Just to here, a little more. Okay, just like that.
That's it?
Yep, yep. Okay. Okay, coming along. Okay. I think that eye's got to be made a little smaller. This is the problem, you know, correcting. If you do a tracing, you don't have to do this. But I really don't like tracing.
Good artists are supposed to trace.
Artists that make a lot of money do whatever they have to do to get the job done and get the customer happy. Right. You know, I hear that all the time. Oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that, blah, blah. I'm not an artist that, you know, makes a lot of money every year. I don't have to support myself. But those who do have to support themselves do whatever they have to do to make the end product palatable for the public. So if one of my favorite artists, Lou Bonamart, was my favorite watercolor artist for years up in Connecticut. And the first workshop I took from him, it looked like he had just drawn everything and not lifted his pencil off the paper. And I said, "Oh my God, Lou, you are an excellent drawer." He said, "Oh, I traced everything." So But he's very famous. If you go on the internet, he's very famous, but he does ships. You can't do ships freehand. You can't do a marina freehand. You'd have everything all messed up unless you're an impressionist. He's an exact watercolor artist.
What is his name?
Lou Bonamart, Loubonamarte.
Where in Connecticut?
He is probably in Mystic or Niantic now.
Mystic?
Yeah, Mystic or Niantic. Yeah, but he used to teach a class in Madison, and I lived in Clinton, which is the next town over. Yeah, this I'm going to make this just a little bigger here. But there is one rule I think I do have to mention, and I've heard it over and over again. Oh, you shouldn't be drawing from people who are not artists. Oh, you shouldn't be drawing from a picture, you should draw from your head. No. You learn bad habits if you draw from your head. You should always copy something you see, a model, a photo of something. If you, especially beginner, if you start drawing from your head, you develop bad habits and it gets ingrained in your mind. You can't undo it. It's very hard to undo. No matter how many classes you take, you still want to go back to drawing the way you drew. So you should always have, especially if you're drawing something that reflects light. You can't make it up. You have to see where your light source is and see where it hits the unusually shaped objects that are either the face or in nature. If you're an impressionist or an abstract artist, you don't have to concentrate on that. Not to diminish, the talent that it takes to do that type of work. But I like to see the beauty in a face or in a realistic tree or an ocean's wave. I can appreciate some abstracts. In fact, that was our theme this month in August, abstracts back there. So you'll see quite a few abstracts, and it was a stretch for most of us because we're realistic painters. But it was fun. We had a really good time with it. Okay, now I'm going to get down and dirty, down to the shadows. I'm going to start blocking shadows in so we can get the planes of the face and get a better shape of his nose. And a good pencil portrait takes hours and hours. I'm doing this very fast. I'll get a likeness, but it's not going to be, what I do in, 6 or 7 hours. Okay. I see I've got this a little too high here. And I've got this lobe a little too big. When I first took a workshop from this guy, Christopher Zhang, excellent oil painter, portraitist. He does mostly Asians. And he painted like this, just jumping back and forth. And I thought, I was right behind him, and I thought, boy, that's really weird. But, it makes it a little more fun. You get a little exercise, but you also get to step back and see what's wrong, especially when you're dealing with colors. You're splashing color on, and if you're not doing everything exact. He was half impressionist and half realistic. So he would splash color on next to another color, and close up it just looked like smudges. But when you step back, it was this magnificent rendition of an Asian face. I mean, his work goes for tens of thousands of dollars now, and he does gigantic works for museums. But I was with him when he was just starting, when he was part of the Tenement Square thing. And he came over to America afterwards and just blew into town and blew everybody away. And in Niantic, I believe, New London, which incidentally is a really nice little art town now. It was a dump, but the artists took it over, and man, what a town they made. The trouble with doing pencil is you want to get right into it, and you really get lost, and before you know it, you got an eye that's way off. So you have to, with pencil, it's a very easy medium to sit at a table and just relax and watch TV or listen to music and look at your reference. But you really need to get away, especially if you have it like this. Now, Doris, I see you have yours not perpendicular to your face. You're going to have a distortion. Yeah. It really has to be perpendicular. The perfect way is this way, because this is really perpendicular to me, although I'm trying to do it like this and I'm getting a little distortion. But you really have to have it perpendicular at right angles to your eyes. So I think I want to play with your smile lines, character lines a little bit. Now, when I'm doing character lines in oil or acrylic or pastel, I just do a dark area and then lighten up in between the wrinkles. Too many artists I see paint the wrinkles, and they're too pronounced. That's not what the person is about. The wrinkles are character lines. They should be subtle. So I don't like to play them up, and I will lighten his up quite a bit. Yeah, I'm liking what's happening now. Yep. Getting some nice darks here, but I need to get a 6B. And B, 3B. Where's my 6B? Here's 6B. I need a little darker over here. And a little, he's got a nice tone to him. I'm not putting any of his little freckles in. I might put one or two, but that's all. Now, at this stage, a lot of people use the side of the pencil. I prefer to see the strokes, but I may, just for time's sake, oh gosh, it's almost 4 o'clock already. I guess for time's sake, I'm going to use this handy little thing. I don't know where I got it. I found it in my stash. But the whole thing is a pencil. And I'm going to shade with the whole side. This time went by so fast, folks. I'm sorry. I thought I'd get farther along. But I hope you've learned a little bit, at least about the eyes. And the beard, I'm going to map that in just ever so slightly. And I'd like to get at least his lip in there. Can't believe this time went by so fast. Sheesh. Gosh. See, you know, I get in the zone, and I could probably do this now for another few hours because it's so much fun. I'm seeing, especially once I get the eyes looking at me, then I get really excited, and all I want to do is create. See, now I'm committing to the shape of the face, and his beard is going down like this, and up like this, and over like this. Now, I'm getting a little sloppy now because I'm trying to hurry, but I just want to... Now, since his hair is white, if I was doing a professional portrait of somebody, I'd probably darken the background just to highlight his white hair, because then there'll be a little more contrast. You always have to think of contrast. So all this would be dark. all on the outside, just to silhouette his head. And I'd fade it out as it comes down here. And as for his clothes, this would just almost be an afterthought here. This would be a very soft, and I might even lose some lines even in his face. Just a little lost line here and there sometimes gives it a little more interest. And as you erase your beginning sketches, starts taking on a little more personality. See, his beard is a negative, and his mustache is also because it's so white. So all this shadow here, with a very hard pencil, I would outline this so that you could see the edges of his whiskers coming out over here. And his lips would be very smooth so as not to look like they're part of the whiskers. Everything would be very smooth. And there's a very, if you look at, one thing I do when I'm doing a portrait, I look at where all the darkest of the darks are. Something that I would consider black. What I'd consider black is his lip right here, the eyeballs, under the nose, the ear. So some artists say, well, you should squint and see. I never got that. I never was able to squint and see better than I could with my own eyes. So I see those black areas, and that's where the accent should be. That's where the interesting planes of the face is. See that part of the nose that is darkened, and the shadows. And this part of the mustache here, if I had more time, I would darken that and silhouette the mustache in such a way where you'd know that he has a mustache there. And this chin down the bottom here. And also look at the lightest of the lights. The lightest of the lights are, if I darkened his nose a little bit, that would be right here, right there. And there's a light right here on his forehead here, and right here, and a little here and here. And the edge of his mouth has a tiny little downturn to it. Okay. I'm running just a little over. Oh, I'll give you 5 more minutes. Getting tired, Guido?
No.
No? Good. Okay, I'm going to just darken a little bit. And see, this is where I would definitely darken the whole outside, because I'd have the little wisps of his beard that's showing right there. I'd have that highlighted because that's an interesting part of him. And I wish you hadn't shaved so closely because you'd be able to see the beard a little better. I just may have you for a model again because your faces, I'd love to have you sit when I'm doing color because you've got great color in your face. Where's Kathy? You picked a good one, Kathy. He's handsome. And if you notice, there's a highlight right at the edge of his lips that I could probably get by doing this. There. Yeah, his beard is going to be hard to depict unless I do a lot of negative space here, which I'm starting to do now, but there's just the time constraint. And one other thing I'd like to let you know, to observe, is the nose. That's very important with the nose. When there's a shadow on the nose. Now there's a shadow that goes right, almost straight across his nose here. But it's not a dense shadow. And what happens is the bottom of the nose in shadow, it bounces, the light bounces from under, from chins, from, in his case, from his beard and everything. And there's actually light bouncing. If I were to paint this, I would put little light orange right under the nose, like that. See that there's light bouncing. I could see it's bouncing off his mustache, especially right here. In fact, it's almost getting lost. So. So anyway, now I'm using the 6B pencil, and it's just a matter of filling in more of the darks to get his beard to stand out. He does look shifty. Now his, now without the forehead being actually filled in nicely, it still is not Guido yet without the forehead being filled in. So
It is so close.
is it? Wow. But if I were to fill this in and highlight the white of the hair, he's got such contrast. I mean, look at his dark olive skin and the white hair. That's as white as it gets. But he does have a highlight right here that I could see, and a little here above the eyebrow, and one here. But basically, that's about it, folks. Thank you. I am not happy with his beard, but I will work on that. Did anybody get it? I didn't bring my camera. Is Kathy here? Kathy? Kathleen? Oh, did you get a picture of Guido?
I got him from this angle, though.
Oh, would you do me a favor, get a picture of him from here?